Why is it that the big corporations are finding joint ventures and channel partners and collaborators, and those who are just jumping off into solopreneurship don't do that?
It's funny you should ask.
I know.
Everyone wants to leave a legacy of positivity in the world around them. Whether you are a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, a nonprofit executive director, or even a soon-to-be entrepreneur, one fact is always true. The easiest and most effective way to catalyze change in the world around you is through commerce and through business. But how do you do it? You've come to the right place. Welcome to the Changemakers Collective, a place where people can come and get educated and encouraged and empowered to be the impact agent in the world around them. Brought to you by Silverback Ventures, Steph Thomas and Scott Woods have over 50 years combined experience helping companies and owners amplify the voice and multiply the impact of purpose-driven businesses. Join us each week as we discuss what it means to live a life of purpose on purpose.
All right, welcome back to the Changemakers Collective. It's good to see everybody. Yes, we can see you through this camera. I am Scott. That's Steph.
Hello.
And today we're going to be talking about something we really talk about all the time, and that's collaboration. But we're coming at it from a different lens. We just recently read an article that said there are 82,000 business coaches registered in the United States, which is a stupid number. And yet, they only average under $200,000 in revenue per year per person. Now, while if you're a solopreneur, 200 grand is not a small amount of money, it very much caps at that level. So we're going to talk about the why does it cap out? How do we create a model where you can create collaboration that ultimately leads to multiplication? And Steph said she's got all kinds of crazy research that she wants to talk about as well. But let's talk about first the limits of the solopreneur thing, because I don't think everybody thinks about it when they go into business for themselves. So you immediately think of, okay, I'm going to have all kinds of free time. I'm going to make all the money. I don't have to pay anybody else. I don't have to worry about the boss. That's a fallacy. You just become an employee of your own, and You're generally speaking your own worst employee.
Right.
And
you're the boss of you.
Yes. Yeah. And if you're not a good manager of your own time prior to jumping off into entrepreneurship, it's only going to be magnified how poor you are at managing your own time. And we've talked about time management before. But I think the limits inherent to solopreneurship is you absolutely have an inherent limit based on your capacity. There's only 24 hours in a day. You can't work 24 hours in a day. So there is a limit to which you can grow just based on capacity. And I would also say that the potential for burnout, because there's a limit to your capacity, because you don't have anybody else to turn to when things are going all wrong, the potential for burnout is exponentially higher than if you're working in a company.
I think that when you're doing it alone, that's where coaches pop up everywhere. And a good coach can ask the right leading questions so that they can find out, okay, how are you managing your daily life?
Yes.
So now let's back into how to manage your
business life. Because again, we've talked about this.
Everywhere you go, there you are.
All along. You bring you where you go. And if you're the only one telling you what to do and you don't have your life structured well, you're going to cap out in terms of what you can produce.
So here's some things that in a previous podcast, we talked about just the different dynamics that are showing up in the current workforce, right? So you've got everyone from boomers to alphas. Mm-hmm. But that's showing up in our entrepreneur groups, right? So Google did this super cool thing. Amazon did this super cool thing where they built these ecosystems, but they didn't do it all by themselves, right? They went out, they research, they partner, they have this, hey, we are still partnering with you. Same thing with Tesla. Tesla builds a great car, but they have somebody doing the battery, they have somebody doing the IT, they have, so they're going outside of their, I am smart and I can do it all by myself.
True.
So when you are...
The question is why? Why is it that the big corporations are finding joint ventures and channel partners and collaborators, and those who are just jumping off into solopreneurship don't do that?
It's funny you should ask.
I know.
I read an article and it was in Forbes, and I'll try to find the title. But this is what they were talking about, which I thought was cool, which is much like what I was saying in a previous podcast about how you have the different leaders showing up, right? So the mindset, or your business coach or your business mentor, is typically an older person who has been very successful, and they bootstrapped it. They worked a ton of hours at the sacrifice of their friends and family, and, they trudged along, or they became successful. The culture, at least the American culture, has so shifted to be a group hub mentality, and we're teaching people to be a group hub mentality that people struggle, right? They watch the people that used to do it versus what they're bringing to the table in hub mentality, social enterprise mentality, social group mentality, that now there's a disconnect. So people are saying, well, if you just work harder, it'll get better. But then they're burning out at a higher rate.
Well, and I think that's
ever.
what's so interesting, is because what you're saying is that the majority of business coaches come from a background of work harder, not necessarily smarter, just work harder, just grind it out, and eventually you're going to be successful. There's somewhat like 1,800 businesses started every single day in the U.S., and yet we still set out to be our own boss, regardless of whether those folks that have been there, done that are now coaches are saying that's not going to work.
Right. So the cohorts, the group cohorts, that's why, and again, I've got to find the Forbes article. They're saying that's why it's so important to get in a group who are collaborating, who are...
Yeah, I'm still not buying it though.
Okay, but talk through that.
I still don't buy it, because you still have, the vast majority of people don't say, I'm going to start my business and I'm immediately going to get a whole group of people around us. Now, we recognize, I was a solopreneur for 7 years before we partnered up with Silverback Ventures. I learned and realized very early on that there is no chance that I'm going to be able to network with enough people. That balance, I talk about the balance of doing the work and finding the work all the time. If I'm doing the work, and doing it well, I don't have time to be finding the work, because I'm doing the work. There was a time where I had 7 active clients at one time. Well, there's only so many hours in the day. I realized early on that if I was going to have a pipeline of business, I had to find other people that were like-minded, that wanted to do the same thing, wanted to solve the same problem, that we could then refer each other so we could both gain business. But the vast majority of people, when they start their business, are not going out and going, okay, I need a partner, or I need a collaboration hub, or I need a cohort of people surrounding me.
Yeah, but what they can do is say, who's doing this?
Don't want to share.
Right, and that's the thing. Who else is doing this? So
I'm agreeing with you. I just think we have to put it out there that while we know that collaboration is the only pathway forward to grow your business exponentially. You can grow incrementally, but to grow your business exponentially, collaboration is the only way path forward.
And Scott, it's a mindset. So, how many times have we been in a group, had conversations with a person or a team, or been in a lunch and learn, and multiple people are doing the exact same thing in the exact same community, but aren't speaking to each other. It's a mindset shift. And businesses are moving toward a collaboration mindset.
I agree with you. And I think it's a recognition, and we've said this, I don't know, almost every episode, that every business is created to solve a problem. Don't you think it's a little arrogant to assume that you're the only one in the world that can solve this problem?
But wait, aren't we the only one that solve the problems we solve?
So if your mindset is, hey, I actually want to solve this problem, then you have to find other folks. Now, we have a niche that we work really, really well in. We do strategic planning better than anybody. But we do not do marketing better than everybody. We do not do legal better than everybody. We have been around enough and have enough experience to be able to dabble in those things. We are very good editors of marketing and legal and insurance and reviewers of those things, but we're not going to go out and create a graphic design. We have tried that. It does not work well. We are not graphic designers. Do not call us for graphic design work. But we have found other folks that want to solve the same problem so that when you come into a collaboration model, it is not just, I got to find every marketing person and just pick them off the street.
Well, so Scott, and that's more.
That's why it's called a collaboration, not just a add-on service.
So there's two different types of groups that a new entrepreneur should look for, right? The first one is just a group of like-minded people that have been through it before, right? So sometimes that has a cost and it doesn't have a cost, right?
So you're talking about a group of mentors to some degree.
Right. Like, hey, did you realize you need to register your business? Hey, do you know that if you are a 1099 employee?
I'm making all kinds my face is doing weird things because that just kind of annoys me that people think they have a business and they haven't registered it yet.
Or all the money is theirs. No, you still have to pay taxes.
Yeah, sorry. We digressed. Please continue.
So if you don't know, you don't know. So people should get in a group where they are talking about just how to start a business, right? Properly. Then you should find who is doing it and work with them, because holding on to your business like you are the only person in the world to ever do it is only hurting you.
Well, it's arrogant and short-sighted. I mean, let's be honest. And I think I don't want to discount the intellectual property side of things. There are unique ways to tackle the same problem that are unique to you.
Like Absurd Snack.
Yeah.
They are a perfect example of that.
Yep. We have it started out as a student relationship that I had, turned into his sister was allergic to nuts and on a cross-country team in college. And there was a lack of available snacks for when they were at meets. And her business partner went through an incubator at the University of Richmond and created Absurd Snacks. That is all non-nut-based products. And they're doing fantastic because they found a niche. Now, are they the only one in the world creating non-nut snacks? Of course not. So they recognized early on that we have to learn from the people that are doing it well. And that's where I think the tide is shifting to some degree, to your earlier point, Steph, where people are recognizing that time is short, whatever that means, right? Like, is the world ending?
Right.
I don't think so. But there's an urgency to solve some of these problems that people are recognizing you can only go so far alone. We're meant for community, so let's figure out how to work together instead of work in opposition.
So talk about that for a minute. Like, how do you choose the right collaborative group?
Well, it's got to start with common values. So you've got to have a common problem that you're both addressing. You got to have common internal value systems. If we were talking about partnering and your core values where I want to make as much money as possible and I don't care how many people I exploit in order to get there, that's obviously going to be a conflict with us being servant leader focused. So you've got to have a common set of core values.
We've had that. I mean, that's hard, right? So if someone says, hey, well, I mean, who cares? Let's just turn and burn until we get some cash in our pocket. If we said yes, when is the end of getting the cash in our pocket?
Well, you see that even take it all the way to what's common that everybody sees. You look at the Shark Tank show. Half the time, the person going in trying to get an investment already has somebody in mind.
Right.
Why is that? Because they have a common niche market. They have shown success in that market, and they have a common set of values. You're not going to go in and try to sell, what's his name, Kevin McCleary, Mr. Wonderful, on the idea that you're only going to give him 1% of your company.
Okay,
it's not going to work.
That's a good thing, right? So clearly there are times that someone will say, I can't do that. Like, that's not my area. And someone on Shark Tank will continue to try to convince them to work with them. But we see that when people try to collaborate, right? So now you have the group that won't collaborate at all. And then you have a group that just want to collaborate, but they're not aligning themselves with people that can get them to their next.
And I will say, Chad Jenkins over at SeedSpark does this very, very well and calls it in addition to having a common problem statement and common core values, his big thing is you have to have a common hero target is his term. Like, who are the customers you're targeting with your product or service? And if you have alignment on those customers, it's much easier to collaborate, because if you were targeting billion-dollar companies and I was targeting startups, we're having different conversations.
Right.
And you're also encountering the 3 Ps everywhere,
right?
People, process, and profitability problems. It's different scale. Like, us working with a billion-dollar organization is going to look very different than us working with a startup.
Right.
However, if we are both targeting middle market companies, now we are having common conversations around the trials and tribulations of an entrepreneur in that area.
Along the same lines, but jumping backwards a little bit.
Go for it.
So we were talking about, how to align yourself with the right people. So everybody wants to, as we're going into October and the breast cancer awareness and everybody's wearing pink and everybody wants to be the next pink on the stage.
Yes. The next big charity is what you're saying.
Right.
Not necessarily the next solver of
breast cancer.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. I'm with you. Just so we're clear.
Yes.
It's not about actually solving the problem. It's about just being famous.
Right.
Okay.
So, however, breast cancer awareness is very well marketed. They are everywhere, and they have a month. They have a whole month. But we have all kinds of cancers.
Yes.
That we can learn from, learn with, partner with. So if you're on a platform talking about breast cancer and you won't collaborate with someone that is doing it very successfully, just because your cancer is not breast cancer awareness, the question is you.
Oh, 100%.
Not the
yes.
alignment.
Yeah, 100%. And again, those who are unwilling to collaborate are going to hit a ceiling. Those that are willing to collaborate and maybe more importantly, willing to share the accolades of success, I wrote in our notes here when I said the biggest issue right now is humans don't like to share.
Right.
It starts at a very young age and doesn't get better.
Right. If
we
you
don't like to share.
It's not a learned behavior. It's
inherently human.
Right.
It's mine and I'm not sharing.
Two babies that can be a little bit mobile. Someone is taking something out of someone else's.
Well, what
hands.
are the first two words that every baby, mine and no, like that's it. That's just who we are as human beings.
I have a friend.
If we don't grow out of that, you are never going to be able to succeed at the pace and at the level you want to in solving the problem your business is created to solve unless you collaborate. There's no chance.
I had a friend that I was talking about, hey, we're doing this. And they mentioned that, okay, not only do you have to collaborate, you have to continue to educate. So if you are the smartest person in your group, good for you. And good for the people around you because they're learning
better for the people around you.
Right. But you have to get in another group.
Yeah.
So as you're collaborating,
which is hard.
It is hard because we get complacent and we get comfortable. And
we like being the smartest person in the room.
Yes, we do. However, if you're a solopreneur and you really want to continue to have stretch goals, to have mobility, you got to come out of your comfort zone.
Well, how would you know what your stretch goal should be if the only person you're talking to is yourself?
But we struggle. I mean, let's go back, right?
No, I agree with you.
hate when people tell me that I'm wrong.
Well, of course.
I like being the smartest person in the room.
And
I'm always wrong.
You're always the smartest person in the room, Steph.
Yes.
You are always smartest in the room.
But that's
I
the
agree
thing,
with you.
right?
I think you're right. I think, again, if our conversation is around the benefits of collaboration, which leads to innovation, which leads to multiplication, you can't. So the opposite, I'm a big revisionist history guy. The opposite of that is if you don't collaborate, you can't innovate and you can't multiply.
Right.
That is 100% true. So creating an atmosphere in which you're seeking that continuous education, you're seeking knowledge and wisdom, and we'll talk about wisdom in an upcoming episode, from other people who have been there, done that, and having the humility as a leader to say, hey, I'm doing this well, but how can I do it better and faster and more impactful? And who can help me along that journey is a monumental step in the life of an entrepreneur and as a leader.
As we wrap up, I would say that our listeners, the next best step would be, first of all, as you're having a lunch or a coffee, instead of having the mindset of how can I land them as a client, think through how can I partner with this person.
Yeah.
Another great next step is to look at your client list and think, man, how many people are they touching that we can co-collaborate with?
Well, and I think if you take the focus off of you and put it on the people you're trying to serve, that just becomes a natural part of the conversation. And I think in addition to combing through your client list, you should comb through your list of competitors and say, what are we doing better than they're doing? And what are they doing better than we're doing? And how do we have the conversation around what would it look like from a leadership and even from a financial standpoint if we combined our efforts to actually solve that problem? That becomes a very interesting conversation around revenue sharing, around referral business. But you're not going to get there unless you're willing to step back and say, I don't have to be the smartest in the room, and I actually want to solve this problem. And if you actually want to solve the problem, you can't do it without going with somebody else. So until next time, find a collaboration partner and live a life of purpose on purpose. Have a great day.
Thank you for listening to the Changemakers Collective. If you've enjoyed this episode, please help us grow our community by leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts or rating us on Spotify.
You can also find our podcast on YouTube, so you can come and leave us a comment over there as well. If you want support growing your business and scaling your vision, visit us at silverbackventures.org or connect with us on LinkedIn.
Thanks again, and we'll see you on our next episode.